Hello. And welcome to another Wednesday Inner Journey with Robert Morales and my esteemedly, beautifully, bodaciously, something with a B, co-host. Blubbering co-host, Miss Mary VanAlstyne.
Hi.
There she is, back again. We are here every Wednesday to come at you talking about emotions and the things we got going on in life that all connect to business, but really that connect to ourselves and sharing, kind of where we're at in life and what we're doing and how it all affects us. So today, I don't think you should worry so much, and I think you should be unhappy. Yes.
Yeah, I think so. Don't worry.
Be unhappy. We all do remember that song, Miss. It is a song that talks about being happy, but we're really here to talk about being unhappy. Because I think that's a point we miss, I think, in our daily lives is that, we strive to be happy all the time. But there's points, and a lot of points for all of us, that we are unhappy or unsatisfied in our search for that. But to start off today, I did write a little something, because I write here and there. Miss Mary's going to read something very close to what I've written. Right? We decided a while ago that we were going to read something that either I wrote or she found the profound. So I'm going to give it to Miss Mary.
All right. So here we go. Here's a poem by Robert Morales.
It is a short.
It is short because I would not be able to handle reading longer. And I'm really nervous, so bear with me.
Oh, God.
All right, here we go. It's an irrelevant heart that masters the skill of wanting more. Desire that cannot be satisfied even as it is full. Prized is a simple kiss, taken deeper when all envy is devised. But what is truly kept, lock and key, is that smile. That smile, the one only meant for me.
You said irrelevant again.
Did I say it is an irreverent heart?
It is an irreverent heart.
Let me start over. It's an irreverent heart that masters the skill of wanting more. There we go.
Yes. So I think we'll put it somewhere. I write these shorts all the time. I do write them. And Mary's got that really seductive voice that we're trying to capitalize on.
Peaceful.
A very seductively peaceful voice that we're trying to capitalize on and share here with you at the Inner Journey. But we're not here to read poems, Miss. We're here to talk about emotions and the things that we're conflicted with. Because, in life, I think there's a dichotomy in life, right? There is what is reality versus what is desire. There is the need versus what is the want. Have you experienced these things, Miss?
Of course, I'm human, so yes, I have.
There's a lot of things that I think that we have in life that we really, that we face reality with, kids, family, jobs and circumstances that we're currently in, and we always want to strive for more, different. It doesn't matter if you make $50,000 this year and then you make $80,000 next year. You're like, I want more. I deserve more. Yeah,
there seems to be that innate human drive for more. Once you reach your desires or your dreams or your goals, then it's always something that's next. What's next? What's next? So, yeah, I think that's just built into who we are as humans.
And I think that comes from a survival mechanism because we're built to survive. We're not built to be happy. We're built to learn. We're not built to be satisfied.
Maybe we're built to thrive.
That is a good way to look at it. Yeah. Yes. Looking at different perspectives. I think what at the end of it comes down is really looking at perspective. Where you're at in life and where you choose, and I really say choose to look at in which direction. Do you look at the direction of happy or do you look at the direction of sad? Mm-hmm. And have you come across any of those things in your life too?
Points in my life where I choose to look at happy or choose to look at sad?
Yeah.
Oh, all the time. I mean, when you're in a situation that maybe you're not content with or satisfied with, there's always that potential to either look at it from point of view A, which is I really want that, therefore I'm going to be miserable now, or point of view B, which is, I really want that, I'm working towards it, and I'm going to look at where I am now and appreciate everything that is about where I am now. And is that what you're asking?
Yeah, I mean, like I was saying in the example earlier, we're not satisfied with what we're making today, or if we're okay with $50,000 a year year per se, we're going to want a pay raise next year, or to feel like we're continuing to move forward. And I think that comes from a survival basis. We want to feel like we're continually progressing forward in life. And we've eliminated like having to fight like, lions and tigers and bears. Oh my.
Plant our flag in different locations, right? And claim territories.
We're not looking for, building a home. Some of us strive for a home, and I think that's why that's so significant. But, we're not battling out there like in a survival kind of sense, but our mind and our mentality are still there. Looking for more, looking to establish more, looking for that house, the perfect wife, perfect husband, the husband with the six-pack.
He doesn't have to have a six-pack.
Are you sure?
He just can't have a keg. No. I'm just kidding. Anyway, I think that like really boils down to the fact that I think that what the desire for wanting all these things is really just the craving for what we think we're going to have when we get these things, which is that feeling of happiness and contentment and joy. And so I think it's great, and we're always going to have that drive and that desire for more. What's next? It's something I don't think that we can escape. It's built into us. It's learning about how to enjoy the journey along the way and be an appreciation of the life you have, as it is now. Find the joy and find the excitement and find whatever it is you're seeking, whatever you think that this new life is going to bring you, somehow being able to find that in the life you have now in some way. Yeah,
because I think when we hit reality, right, like we find the person we love forever, and we build the family, we have a home, and do all these things we're supposed to do societally, we get kind of, in a way, bored maybe, or things become very stagnant, and we need kind of that thrill. We talked about it a couple of weeks ago, having that certainty versus variety. If you follow Tony Robbins, that's one, he talks about that a lot. But having that kind of balance between things that are stable in life and then things that are unstable in life, like a problem to fix. Look at the movies we have. If you go to a movie, any movie, it starts off with some sort of problem, and you follow the hero or you follow the person in the story to the very end till they resolve the problem in some way, whether it's good or bad. And so it's like life constantly has to have problems, but yet everybody's always seemingly trying to avoid problems.
That is funny.
Such a conflict that we are taught, right?
Yeah, no wonder we're all so conflicted.
We're always conflicted. We always again, we're told two different things. You're supposed to just be happy, but how do you just be happy when everything just feels unsatisfied or unhappy?
Yeah, I mean, it's how are you thinking about life? Are you playing this? What's so funny?
I was just smiling. Oh, you're hearing me.
It's how are you playing this life? Are you playing this like comparison game? Are you playing or like there's a comparison game? There's wanting to reach a goal because you want to reach a goal, and then there's also comparing yourself to other people and wanting to reach a goal for other people's needs or for other people's expectations. That can make you very miserable as well.
Well, I think that comparison comes to societal standards. Mm-hmm. Right? You watch any music video, and this is where TV is a deficit, I think, in people's lives. This is why you should get away from TV, by the way. You should not watch what's on TV because it projects this image of like the way things should be. If you watch the Kardashians, it's like they live a tormented life in a mansion with yachts and like a Mercedes Benz. Yeah. It's like, well, if you have money, then you're supposed to be satisfied, right? You're supposed to be happy, but yet they're not happy. And I know that's part of it's for the show, but at the end of the day, it's like it comes down to a choice. For everybody. And we tend to compare ourselves really with societal norms in whatever society we put ourselves into, the box we put ourselves into. And until we recognize that, we're never going to be happy.
That is truth.
Yes. Yeah. I speak truth. If you guys have any comments or questions, go and put those in the comment section, especially if this resonates with you too. Mary likes her hearts, so if you want to give her a heart or two, she likes the hearts. But we talked about it off the show, but I really think like everything in life, whether you're happy or not, really comes down to another person, and the connection you have with people in your life. That could be a small intimate group, your spouse, your mom, your brother. That could be in a bigger group, your friends and the people you meet at work or whatever. But I really think it comes down to who's in your life and who you decide to be in your life. Mm-hmm. If your sense of happiness comes from making them happy, which is why we follow these societal standards.
Yeah, that is true. I always say the quality of your life is directly correlated to the quality of your relationships.
Yeah.
And when I really think about it, it goes even deeper than that. It's the quality of the relationship that you have with yourself.
Yeah.
You know, which is this whole journey that we're on to go inward and learn about ourselves. Because unless we have that relationship with ourselves, it doesn't matter who we have a relationship on the outside. And if we don't have that relationship with ourselves, what they expect of us and what they pressure us to do tends to impact us more, right? It has more of a pressure, more of an impact on us on what we think we should be doing or saying or pursuing, or what kind of life we should be living. I used to be in that boat where it mattered a lot what people said I should be doing or what their expectations were. And now I'm kind of like, you know what? Blazing my own trail. And if you want to stay in my life, then stay in my life. Great. You know? But I don't allow that, people's expectations of me to determine how I think I should be living anymore. And it's very freeing.
You know what I think people's sadness really comes from? Is that disappointment, but really in disappointment with somebody else, but really disappointment in not making a decision for themselves.
True, yeah.
You know, I will say, you know, time and time again, I've interviewed like maybe in my past career, as well as, you know, doing this stuff, I've maybe interviewed about 10,000 people, you know, and the thing that I see common over and over and over again is indecision. Mm-hmm. You know, indecision between choosing one partner versus somebody they're seeing on the side, between, you know, one life event or another. It's indecision, you know, and I think they're afraid of either failure or disappointment in that other person, you know, but it really boils down to just making the decision. If they just stuck to one decision and said, you know what, I'm really going to work my issues out with this one person, you know, hand over fist, I'm going to work it out with this one person, I think they would feel a lot of relief out of that. Mm-hmm. But it's because we're caught between that sense of need and desire, you know, that sense of like, hey, this is what I need in my life and this is what I want in my life. And what you need isn't always what you want.
Yeah.
You know, and what you want is typically conflicted and misdirectional. What you need is very directional, but you want to avoid it. And it's such a challenge to kind of balance both out, you know, getting what you want at the end of the day. You finally buy that, you know, Corvette or whatever, you know, and the desire is no longer there because guess what? You have it.
Yeah. And
you're just like, okay, well, now I got it. Well,
I think that comes down to whether you want something, because if you're really clear on what's going on within yourself, right, and you have that relationship with yourself, you're very aware of when you are filling a void or when you're wanting something just for the sheer desire of the enjoyment of it, right? I believe that you can have that goal to get that Corvette, but if it's coming from a place of trying to fill something within you that is missing, you're never going to be satisfied, and then you're going to go on to the next thing. Next is the what? I'm such a not a car person.
I just gave a car. I didn't
Ferrari?
know.
I don't know.
House,
you know
maybe?
What I mean? Whatever
maybe.
it is, you're going to be looking for that next thing. And I think that's the whole point of us, you know, reaching out here and talking to people is to kind of allow people to stop and take a look and start going inward to get to know themselves and have that self-awareness so that they're able to identify when it is that, you know, I'm striving for something, I'm putting my whole heart into it. You know, people do that to get that Corvette or that job or that house or whatever. They'll dedicate their entire lives, get there, just like Olympic gold medalists, you know, and then there's this bit of depression because they didn't realize the reason they're going there is because the reason they're striving so hard for it is because to fill some sort of void within themselves. So that's why it's so important for us that we talk about all the time, this self-awareness, being able to really get in touch with yourself and your needs, not the needs that other people think you should have, but your own true needs. That means being with yourself, being willing to be by yourself and listen to yourself versus drowning yourself out with everything, to learn about you, you know, so that you're not chasing something that's going to fill a void. You'll know that void, and then you'll do the work you need to do to fill that void so that you can go enjoy that Corvette just for the fun of the Corvette versus this, I need to have this so it's going to make me feel better. But
see, that also sounds very selfish too, and I think people avoid that as well.
Spending time to get to know yourself. Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. I went through that.
I remember right after my divorce, I even told my family I'm going to be very selfish with a lot of the things that I do, because I really gave myself to somebody for a long time, for 12 years. I invested my time and just kind of gave it freely without recognition that, hey, I want that for myself. I want that time back.
Yeah.
And so when I got my divorce, that's all I was thinking. I didn't think about anybody else. I didn't care about anybody else. And I was, thankfully, I was very expressive in saying, hey, I'm going to be selfish right now.
Yeah.
I'm going to do what I want to do for once. And I was able to tell my family that, but I don't think people are that confident or that strong to really kind of articulate that with the people around them. It
is a hard step to take. And I also went through something similar where I realized that I need to come first. Because, and this is when I went through the divorce with the twins, my life was just in the pits. And I made a decision to invest in myself and take some time away from my family in order to change what was going on in here and figure it out. And it was a very scary step, and that's sometimes it takes feeling the fear and going through it when you know that that's what's right. But you are number one. That's why they say put your oxygen mask on first. You cannot help anyone else in your life or be there for anyone else in your life if you're not willing to go first. So it takes a few times of going through it. But I went through the same thing, that inner conflict of, I'm being selfish and I'm not caring about everybody else. But once you break through that, you learn that you number one should always come first, your well-being. Anyway, not saying you should be selfish, but your well-being is not selfish. And how sad is that we realize that we need our well-being taken care of and we feel selfish for it.
Yeah. Well, and I think that comes from a giving heart too, because I find myself very giving to a lot of people. I give probably way too much time to some people that really don't deserve it. But I find myself always there because I have my own emotional issues, by the way.
Don't we all?
Yeah, we all do, by the way. But I find myself always wanting to give, but without respect to like giving to myself first. Mm-hmm. And when I do, I feel very shameful for it. Mm-hmm. And so that puts me in that state of unhappiness. That puts me in that state of like, well, I'm feeling selfish versus like wanting and needing to be. Again, not selfish, but definitely taking care of myself.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people are like that too. And that's why, like, when they do deviant things with somebody else or in their marriage or, with who they're with, they do these deviant things and they feel very shameful for it. It's because like, hey, you know what, I didn't mean to, but, I needed that for me, for that second, for that moment. And I didn't really know how to tell my partner, and I don't want to tell him now because, I don't want to hurt his feelings because I know it would hurt him. Versus really having that discussion with them, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. I don't know. So we're talking about unhappiness. So if this resonates with you again, I put in a comment or whatever. But the point is, coming back to it, it's really this balance between what you have and what you desire. Trying to figure out like the unhappiness in your life really comes from somewhere. That wanting more. Again, I think it all ties back to survival. Everything ties back to survival in some way, and it's okay. It's okay to have those feelings, and it's okay to have that space. That's why I have Mary here, because I feel good when she's here, and I can share all these things, especially off camera, because you don't hear everything.
Not even
we talk about a lot of stuff before we even come on, and we're rating ourselves G right now because we talk about a lot of things. And, it's really good to have that space. And I think it's good for anybody to have that space. I would say counseling is probably a good space for that because that person you're kind of paying for. Luckily I don't pay.
And they're neutral,
right?
Yeah. And they're not going to judge you and they're not going to shove solutions down your throat. You want someone neutral.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think the first step, and Mary pointed out before we got on the show, is just recognizing that there's something disjunct.
Off. Yeah. When you're feeling off, and this is why we always circle back to self-awareness. And the practice of mindfulness is like you're not even gonna people function for years not even realizing that they've got all this. They're basically like running this life on the emotions of stress and these hormones of stress, and they're so wound up they don't even understand how unhappy they are. And it's about like slow down so you can start to learn that you're unhappy. First, realize that you're unhappy.
And accept that you're unhappy.
And then surrender to the fact that you're unhappy. And then I think the third thing is like allow that feeling to come through, whatever it is, sadness, despair, anger, frustration, whatever it is, allow those emotions to come through, because bottled up emotions are like a fizzy 2-liter of soda that you shook up, and it's going to explode at some point, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I find that using once you recognize a lot of these things, and once you start understanding where they come from, because everybody's unique, everybody's very very specific on their pain, and really what we're addressing is pain, and utilizing that as a tool in your life. Like a lot of my pain, a lot of my drive is out of disappointment. I hate disappointing people, and there's a lot of people in my life that I try to avoid that as much as possible. But inadvertently you do, because, what you do doesn't necessarily meet their expectations 100% of the time. And you're in their life for a reason, and you're inserting yourself in their life for a reason. And you don't want to disappoint them, because the minute you disappoint them is potentially the minute they're going to walk away from you. And you don't want to lose that, And so I use that drive, that sense of like disappointment to drive me into different things, which is these podcasts, which is like the stuff in real estate, which is all the other crap I do. I can't settle, which is annoying, but it's also beneficial at the same time. So it's really about finding that balance between the two. Yeah. That's why I have Mary here.
Am I driving you to?
She drives me to find balance. But no, we have our moments here, and I'm very thankful that you're here and that we're able to talk about these things in a very non-judgmental place.
Yeah, I am too.
So if you are seeking counseling, I highly recommend it, because again, that's somebody out there that's not really into the mix, not really invested in the emotions, but can really point out how absurd of a human you are. Because we all are. We're just weird, crazy, broken people, but we don't have to feel that way.
Yeah, and I don't have anything against therapy if it's the right therapist. However, I would highly recommend some growth classes, some personal growth classes, some spirituality classes that kind of teach you and show you in a setting, very strategic setting, how you're operating. Sometimes we don't even realize the thoughts that we operate by and the feelings and the automatic programs that we operate by. And some of these classes can really bring that up to the forefront and show you, this is how you've been seeing life, where otherwise you'd be blinded. So there's books, there's podcasts, there's YouTube videos, anything that's regarded to growth and learning about yourself. And there's different classes you can take.
Well, you want to start kind of doing these things, but you're not necessarily ready today. But you're on the path to kind of work on these things, right?
Yes.
Yes. So tune in. Mary is working on these things.
Stay tuned for what I've been working on.
Even reach out to Mary or myself, and I'll kind of redirect you. But Mary is definitely somebody that you can kind of bounce stuff off on, and I find her very beneficial in my life, and I appreciate these shows every week. So
do I.
Yeah. So you did say one thing that was very profound today. Do you remember your quote? Do you remember your quote?
The quote I did earlier?
Live in the clouds.
Oh, I said, learn to live in the clouds and have your foot on the ground. And
that's really the essence of true balance. Live in the clouds.
Have your dreams, have your desires, have your goals, and then keep your foot on the ground. Like we're in this reality that we have to live in, and keep grounded, but be out there,
Yeah, and the basis of survival is like creating a community. We want to create a community that helps us selfishly survive, which is weird, We want people in our lives to help us. It's recognizing that fact that we're going to be selfish at times, and that's okay. But also to give back when in times of they need or when they need support. Yeah. So it's recognizing those things too, and moving forward with people. You're going to need people. I mean, you can't do everything by yourself. There's no way. All this and everything that we put together to here has not been on my own regard. Yeah, it's been the love and support of everybody surrounding me, even Miss VanAlstyne.
And you know what I would love to see?
Yes,
I would love to see the word selfish removed from self-care. Right?
I can't say selfish anymore.
I think that too many people refer to themselves as selfish when they need to take me time, including you, including myself. I would love to start a movement that taking me time, taking time for yourself is
Self-care.
no longer selfish. Just it's not a thing.
Hashtag self-care.
Yeah.
We're going to start a movement.
Hashtag self-care is not selfish, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're at the end of the show today. What have we learned, Miss Mary?
I was going to prep for this question next time. We learned that self-care is not selfish. We learned that there's always going to be a desire to improve ourselves, to go after the next big thing. And it's a lot of it is about, like, where are we doing that from, right? Are we doing it from a place of filling a void? Are we doing it from a place of just truly wanting to appreciate and have experience of something? Those are my big takeaways. And
my big takeaway is that everybody needs a Mary in their life. You can't have mine because mine is mine. I'm going to be a little self-care-ish about that. So this is Rob Morales with Mary VanAlstyne, coming at you every week, the inner journey, talking about emotions that connect and make us people, make us learn and grow from whatever capacity in life. So I want to thank you, and we'll catch you guys next Wednesday. See you guys.